Do you have any research that reflects our more current time, 2008, 2009 research that might have shown you something current about the community?
Well, within our research, we found that 2008 has seen a 12% increase in tuberculosis within Queens.
Wow.
Staten Island has remained the same. Other boroughs have increased a little bit, but 2008 for Queens has seen an increase.
Elevated level. So what there, I believe, are different types of TB or different active states. You want to talk about that?
Okay. The very common misconception is that when you have TB, it's not a reason to panic because 90% of all cases of TB cases, they're all safe and healthy. It's only that 5 to 10% if you're not treated or if you didn't get help, then you might develop the active state. So there's something called the active state and the inactive state. So just because you have TB doesn't mean you're going to get all those serious symptoms. So in the inactive state, that just means you have the germ in you and that it's not going to give you any problems because your immune system is pretty much just protecting yourself from it. So, but if you don't get any, medication or any help, then you might develop the active state, and that's when you start coughing out blood, night sweats, diarrhea, wheezing, loss of weight. So that's when it gets really serious.
Right, that's when you need to seek medical attention. So then what? When you become that chronic with TB, then what? What happens? We were talking before about it not being what?
Okay.
Well, we're trying to present a theme that tuberculosis is not a death sentence. So as my group member Kunpan said, when that 5% of people that are affected by the coughing of blood, the chest pains, the very serious, almost maybe even fatal part of the disease, it's a small amount. So it's not a death sentence. People are living happy, healthy lives with an inactive form of tuberculosis. So from 6 months to 12 months, if someone takes medication, they can suppress the bacterial infection and live a normal life. So we just want to, when people learn about health education, it's fear. It's fear that if they have that, like you said, Enid, if they have the information in their hands, everyone can have access to it, but on their own person, we don't want them to have fear. We don't want them to be afraid.
Sure. So let's talk about prevention. And let's talk about what happens if a person feels that they might be at risk for TB. What happens then? And there are a couple of tests that you can take.
Okay. If your family member has TB, then I guess it's a very good reason to get checked. So what happens is the doctor doesn't know whether you have it or not. So what they do first is they give you a PPD shot, and that's just a shot on your arm, and they wait a day for the results. So what happens is if you see a bulge on your arm, then that means it's positive. So that means you have it. But again, that doesn't mean it's active. But if you don't see anything else, then that's negative. So, but when it's positive, when it's active, then you get a chest X-ray, and that chest X-ray shows whether, if it's active, if it's causing any major damages, and if it's inactive, let's go back to inactive. It's inactive. If you find out it's okay due to the chest X-ray, then you're usually going to be on a medication for 6 to 12 months, and it's called isoniazid. And if it is active, then you get all those symptoms. So what you can do is they actually give you a combination of 4 antibiotics. So you have to take that, and usually if you're on to schedule, take it every day for that certain amount of time, you should be fine.